determined young man, is initially deemed unfit for military service. Time and again, he faces rejection due to his frailty, despite his deep desire to serve his country during World War II. His persistence in applying to join the U.S. Army speaks volumes about his character. He's not driven by personal gain but by a desire to do what's right. This inner strength catches the attention of Dr. Abraham Erskine, a German scientist working with the U.S. government. Erskine sees past Steve's physical limitations and recognizes the pure heart inside him. His compassion and relentless spirit stand out to Erskine, who believes that these qualities are more important than physical strength. After much deliberation, Erskine selects Steve to undergo an experimental procedure designed to enhance human abilities, making him the first successful candidate for the supersoldier serum. Colonel Chester Phillips, who is overseeing the supersoldier program, is skeptical of Steve's abilities, given his physical shortcomings. However, Steve quickly proves himself not just capable, but exceptional in a way that nobody expected. While other soldiers in the program struggle, Steve excels through sheer determination and moral fortitude. His persistence during the grueling training sessions leads to respect from his fellow soldiers, though the colonel remains unconvinced. But Steve's true test comes when Erskine administers the super soldier serum, which transforms Steve into the peak of human physicality. This transformation not only enhances Steve's muscles and strength but also increases his stamina and healing capabilities. He is now the perfect soldier and embodiment of everything Erskine had hoped for. Unfortunately, the success of the serum comes at a cost. A Nazi spy working within the U.S. military manages to assassinate Erskine and steal the remaining vial of the serum, escaping before he can be apprehended. In a tense moment, Steve tracks down the spy, but the man swallows the cyanide pill hidden in his mouth, taking his own life before Steve can get any answers. The spy's HYDRA tattoo reveals the true enemy behind the assassination: HYDRA, a secret faction working under the Nazis but growing more dangerous by the day. This tragic event propels Steve into action, realizing that his fight is not just about becoming a symbol, but about stopping HYDRA's growing threat. With Erskine's death, Steve is relegated to a national tour, tasked with promoting war bonds in a ridiculous Captain America costume. While the public sees him as a symbol of hope and strength, Steve yearns for something more. He wants to fight, to put his newfound abilities to good use, but instead, he's treated as little more than a propaganda tool. The turning point comes when Steve learns that his best friend, Bucky Barnes, has been captured by HYDRA, along with the rest of the 107th Infantry. Eager to rescue Bucky and stop HYDRA's plans, Steve defies orders. With the help of Howard Stark, an inventor and friend of Peggy Carter, Steve is secretly dropped behind enemy lines to infiltrate HYDRA's weapons factory and rescue the captured soldiers. As Steve infiltrates the HYDRA facility, he discovers the full scope of HYDRA's operations. The scene is filled with tension as Steve faces off against countless HYDRA soldiers, utilizing his enhanced abilities to quickly overpower them. It's here that Steve comes face to face with Johann Schmidt, the Red Skull. Schmidt, the leader of HYDRA, is revealed to be a twisted, corrupted figure, his face scarred and disfigured from a failed experiment with the same serum that transformed Steve. Schmidt has been using the Tesseract, a powerful energy source, to develop weapons that could change the course of the war. The Red Skull's megalomania is evident as he reveals his plans to use the Tesseract to fuel HYDRA's ambitions of world domination. This confrontation sets up a battle of ideals: Steve, representing the ideals of justice and freedom, versus Schmidt, who seeks to reshape the world through tyranny. After a fierce battle, Steve succeeds in destroying HYDRA's weapons and uncovers a map detailing the locations of HYDRA's remaining bases. His victory marks the beginning of his transformation from a symbol to a true hero. Steve's next major mission is to rescue Bucky and the rest of the 107th Infantry, held captive by HYDRA. With his newly formed team, Steve storms HYDRA's base in a daring and intense rescue operation. The soldiers, who were once imprisoned, now fight alongside Steve as he leads them to freedom. This victory is a pivotal moment in Steve's journey, as he not only saves lives but also earns the trust and loyalty of the soldiers he frees. This mission establishes Steve as a leader, someone the men rally behind in their fight against HYDRA. Despite the success of the mission, Steve is faced with another challenge: the loss of his closest friend. During a mission in the Swiss Alps, Bucky tragically dies in an operation to take down HYDRA's forces. This loss hits Steve hard, as Bucky was more than just a friend, he was his brother. It's a heartbreaking moment that strengthens Steve's resolve. Bucky's death serves as a catalyst for Steve's relentless pursuit of justice. He now fights not just for his country or for the people he's sworn to protect, but for the memory of his fallen friend. This emotional turning point deepens Steve's character and reinforces his unyielding determination to stop Hydra at all costs. As Steve presses forward, he continues to take down Hydra bases one by one. His relentless pursuit of justice leads him to confront Arnim Zola, Hydra's top scientist, who holds the key to locating Hydra's final base. After a tense confrontation, Zola reveals the location of Hydra's last stronghold, where the Red Skull is preparing to launch a deadly attack on major US cities. Armed with this new information, Steve leads a final assault on the base, determined to stop Schmidt before he can unleash the super bombs that would devastate the world. This moment marks the culmination of Steve's transformation from a scrawny, determined man to a powerful symbol of hope and justice. Inside Hydra's base, Steve faces the Red Skull in an epic final confrontation. Schmidt, now fully consumed by his desire for power, reveals his plan to use the Tesseract to fuel an army of destructive weapons. The tension between them is palpable as they clash in a battle of wills, each one representing different ideologies. Schmidt's obsession with power is evident as he believes the Tesseract will give him ultimate control, but Steve's belief in freedom and selflessness is what drives him forward. In the end, Steve is able to destroy the Tesseract's energy source, preventing Schmidt from launching his devastating attack on America. However, this act of heroism comes at a heavy cost. As the Tesseract's power surges, it opens a rift in space, and the Red Skull is swept into the portal, disintegrating in the process. With the destruction of Hydra's base imminent, Steve realizes that he's the only one who can prevent the bombs from detonating. He takes the heroic step of crashing the plane, which is loaded with bombs, into the ocean, sacrificing himself for the greater good. It's a heartbreaking moment of selflessness, as Steve's final act ensures that millions of lives will be saved. But in doing so, he loses everything: the chance to live a normal life and the chance to be with Peggy Carter, whom he's come to love. When Steve awakens, he finds himself in a completely different world. It's the 21st century, and he's no longer in the 1940s. He's been frozen in ice for 70 years. As Steve struggles to comprehend the magnitude of what has happened, he's introduced to Nick Fury. The director of S.H.I.E.L.D. Fury reveals that Steve has been in cryostasis for decades, and the world he knew is gone. The shock of this revelation is overwhelming for Steve, who, in his last moments, had been preparing for a life with Peggy. He asks Fury if the world he knew is still out there, but Fury's response hints at the beginning of a new chapter for Steve. Post-credit scene: Steve, now adjusting to this new world, is training in a gym, pummeling a punching bag with immense strength. Fury enters, and the two discuss the upcoming threats that require Steve's involvement. Fury hints at the emergence of other heroes: Thor, Iron Man, and the Hulk, marking the beginning of a new era for Steve and the world. This post-credit scene sets the stage for the Avengers,